So it's another exciting day for the university and U of L athletics, and it's great anytime we can talk about a partnership. You know, the connections that we make in our community are really critical for the success of our university, and this is a really important connection for us. You know, finances of universities everywhere are always challenging, and so today we're going to announce something that's going to really help athletics. We have a stellar Department of Athletics, and this is going to just allow us to support them even more, so we're so excited about that. We always talk about U of L as being a great place to connect. We know it, and this partnership will show others how important that it is to connect with one of the great institutions in higher education. So our strategic plan says this is a goal for us. We want to connect to our community, our Louisville community, our state, and beyond. And so another example of a great event. So it's been a long time coming. Our stadium's been without a name for several seasons. And by completing an agreement with all the hard work, the thought, the care, the passion that went into it, we'll let it live and be named now. I want to thank Josh Heird, our athletic director, who's just had a really great year. He's been very successful as our AD, and the team that worked with him to make sure that this agreement was fair to both sides and one that we could all get behind. So we're so proud of the job he's done. And I want to be clear about this, and I've been able to say this like 3 or 4 times. This is a big win for U of L and U of L athletics, so I thank that. Now, my script says, but I don't want to steal Josh's thunder, but the truth is I would love to steal his thunder, but I'm a big person and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let him make the announcement, so please welcome Josh Heird.
Thank you. Cramped quarters up here. So I think before we get going here, I would like to acknowledge Dr. Gonzalez. She's just got 2 days, 1 day? Two days left on the job here, and all kidding aside, she has done a tremendous job over a little over a year now serving as the interim president for this university. And as somebody who was put in the interim role, I think the most challenging part of an interim role is trying to continue to move forward, continue to move the institution forward, and she's done that. I don't think we've skipped a beat, and so I know you have 2 days remaining, but just want to say thank you for everything that you've done. So with that, I do want to... And, you know, life is about transition. And so sitting here in the front row, we have our new president, Dr. Kim Schatzel. So Dr. Schatzel, thank you for joining us today. And I can proudly say that a great partner of the University of Louisville Athletic Department has decided to name our football stadium. I'm excited to announce the home of Cardinal football will now be named L&N Federal Credit Union Stadium, or simply L&N Stadium. L&N has agreed to invest over $41 million during a 20-year period to serve as the naming rights partner for this stadium. This is one of those stories that sometimes what you're looking for is right under your nose. We had conversations with numerous companies locally, regionally, and nationally before realizing L&N could be interested in this opportunity. Fortunately for us, when the conversation was had, they didn't say no. As most of our fans know, L&N Federal Credit Union has a history of supporting our university and our athletic department. Most recently with a multi-million-dollar gift to assist with the naming rights of Denny Crum Hall. Their generosity also included a $2 million gift in April of 2019 to name L&N Arena home of one of the nation's elite volleyball programs. Danny, thanks for coming today. L&N is an institution that cares about this community, cares about this university, and cares about this athletic department. The resources provided by L&N will continue to help provide the resources needed to compete at the highest levels. I love the fact that L&N Credit Union was actually founded on the same site as our football stadium. In 1954, the credit union was founded to serve the L&N Railroad workers in Louisville. For 90 years, the old L&N Railroad had its South Louisville shops located at the same location. And it was from those employees and their families that L&N Federal Credit Union got its start. Now, 69 years later, the credit union has nearly $2 billion in assets and serves over 109,000 people with their personal and business banking needs. A few thank yous. I need to start with a few members of my staff: Michael Dudas, Megan Edwards. Your ability to build relationships helped make this agreement come to fruition. Our president, Dr. Gonzalez, she knew this was a priority for me for a little over a year now, and every meeting I had with her, I told her, we're working on it. She always encouraged me to be patient, and that got us to this point. Dan Durbin, Angela Curry, and Tom Hoy, thank you for all your work behind the scenes. Our Board of Trustees and EULA board members, thank you for your patience. Chris Brown, the president of LNN, thank you for your support of our university and our student athletes. Most importantly, thank you for your friendship. Chris isn't able to join us today, but Chris is somebody I've known for actually a really long time. When I took this role, actually not this role, but the deputy role in the summer of 19, make sure I get my dates and years correct. I actually called him at Megan's suggestion on my way driving from Philly to Louisville, and I have stayed in contact with him ever since, and he's done a lot for this university, for this athletic department. And then obviously Tim Root, the CEO of LNN, is here with us today. Tim, thank you to you, thank you to LNN for everything that you've done for this university and this athletic department. Before I open it up for questions, I'm going to read the mission statement from LNN: to bring people together, to enrich their quality of life, and build permanent relationships. I think that's something the stadium has a history of doing in this community, and I expect it will continue to do so. Last quick reminder, our football schedule will be released tonight at 8 p.m. on the ACC network. Jeff Brom, thanks for attending, Coach, and his staff have been going nonstop since they were hired. So please get to LNN Stadium next year and support our football team. With that, I'll open it up for questions for Dr. Gonzalez, Tim, or myself.
Question, raise your hand. Bring the mic.
I haven't seen you in a while, Tim.
Without adjusting for inflation, this deal appears to be more lucrative than the Yum Center deal, which has a lot more dates. Can you account for what's changed in the naming rights environment?
Obviously we did some benchmarking throughout the country, didn't really get into basketball arenas, and obviously we don't have any conversations. That's the Arena Association. And so, it was my job, it was our job to find the best deal that we could for us. And that's what we did, and we think it's a fair deal, and we're excited about it.
Tim, could you just kind of speak to the commitment you guys have put into the University of Louisville athletics and maybe some of the reasonings behind it?
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. So we've been a partner with U of L, especially in the sports area, for a number of years now, and really that made this opportunity an easier decision for us because we know what impact the university has on this community, and they've been great to work with. And so when we looked at the numbers and looked at everything involved in our end, we said yes.
How long did this kind of go on with you guys? Can you give us a little insight on the negotiation back and forth? And then for you, how cool is it that this is the site, for LNN
Sure.
and back in the day?
Well, if you count early conversations loosely, yeah, it goes back quite a few months. Middle last year, the impact or the cool factor about being on the same site as our history, it is and personally for me, my dad actually worked here for 32 years, or on this site, excuse me. It's a neat homecoming in a way. 14 individuals signed a petition in 1954 to start the credit union for the folks working here. And who would have thought nearly 70 years later we'd be having this announcement today. So it's a very, very neat factor of the whole deal.
Or Josh, it's unusual everything about this has been unusual, from the previous naming deal to the interim time and COVID and everything else. Just since the day you came back to Louisville and have seen through all this, how's difficult to put all this together over that period of time, and how important is it now that it's finally in place?
Let's start with the second part of that question, and it's extremely important. I mean, when you look at the investment that LNN's making, over $40 million, the impact that that's going to have on our athletic department, our university, that's significant. And then you rewind a little bit, and obviously I wasn't even here when things transpired initially with the previous naming rights partner. But obviously I worked right next to Vince's office and knew I think a large majority of the conversations that he was having. I know Michael and Megan. I mean, this has been a long time coming. And I think that the naming rights market, and I think, Tim, this gets into your question a little bit, it's not, hey, we have a stadium to name and people are just jumping up and down saying, hey, I want to be the highest bidder. There has to be some synergies there. There has to be some like-mindedness as far as how the organizations operate and what they do and what their goals and objectives are as far as the community, things like that. And so we had to find the right partner, and that took us a little bit of time. But I think I know we found that with L&N. Obviously, what they've done previously. Just really, really proud of this agreement here.
Yeah, the previous sponsor obviously had the suite upstairs, and I'm wondering, in terms of beyond having their name on the stadium, what benefits are there for L&N?
Yeah, there's some assets in there, and they're actually they're included in the contract, which was provided after the Board of Trustee meeting earlier today. So you can look through that. But they obviously have some assets. They asked for a couple of things when they said they'd give us $40+ million. So, but I would tell you that it is. I don't want to say simple, but a lot of their requests were wanting to do things to take care of their employees when they came to games and, really be able to enjoy all of our sporting events. That was a crux of what they were asking for. And obviously those were some things that we were willing to provide pretty easily.
We really wanted that helmet right there.
Josh, you said a month or so ago you didn't want to talk about this until it was done. When it was finally done, I mean, I know there was some stop and some starts or some things. When it was finally done, how satisfying is it for you to have this checked off the list?
Yeah, as I mentioned really early in my remarks there, I remember the first meeting, what are your priorities, as Lori asked me, and I said, we have to get this stadium named. And quite honestly, I didn't think it was going to take a year. I was hopeful we could do it quicker than that. I don't know why I think that was wishful thinking, considering that we'd gone about 4 years without the name. But it was a priority and something that we worked really hard to get done. I mean, countless conversations with Michael, and we had been close a couple of times. We had been close and had some very serious conversations. I know Vince went down that road a couple of times. And so for us to finally get it across the finish line, and getting across the finish line, that we had to, literally till today, just make sure that we dotted our I's and crossed our T's, and feel like we've done that. And like I said, just honored and proud to call it L&N Stadium now.